Hey, yo, we need energy. What's up, y'all? I gotta even louder than that. They know that. You're talking. You're talking. Ain't enough say. You're talking. I know it's us.
They did so much. They're just, hey, let's not waste any time. Long Island Zone, the Worthington very small time. All three members, De La Soul. There they are. In the flesh. Look at them. They're so agile. True boy. How are you guys doing?
Long time.
Yeah, we good, man. We're excited, actually.
Do you remember anything about, like, do you remember what we covered in the lost episode? Or are we just gonna, I don't remember. I think we can just start again.
I don't remember.
Yeah, I can't recall.
I remember one thing, and I want to see if it comes up, and if it doesn't, I'll bring it up at the end.
That's it. You remember one thing, did 90 minutes.
One specific thing that no one else knows that we found out that day.
All right, so hopefully we'll reveal it again and people will actually hear what it is.
Yeah.
So listen, let's not waste any time. It's not often you have this opportunity to sit with a group as influential and amazing as you guys. So let's start from the very beginning. How did De La Soul get to meet each other, become friends, and start the beginning of this saga that is now up to 26, 7 years running?
Real beginning?
Yeah, real beginning.
Well, these two knew each other for a very long time.
Yeah, I mean,
I met them both in '85 in summer school.
yeah.
So you were all fucking up, basically.
Pretty much. Yeah, me and Dave's brother was in the same grade, so when I moved from the Bronx to Long Island, we became really cool. Knew him from afar, like, oh, this is my friend Mike's brother. Years go by, and we did summer school together. That's how we kind of connected from there. So.
And how have you guys make sure Pasta Mike is up a little bit there?
One, two.
Okay, he's a
What
quiet.
part of the Bronx are you from, Pop?
South Bronx.
The beautiful South Bronx. Is
Are you
it?
sure you don't have any of that Legionnaire's disease
Nah.
around there?
Sorry, too soon. Too soon. And you're from the South Bronx also?
No.
You're from the where parts?
Other parts.
Which parts?
The northern parts.
But also shitty.
Yeah.
Well, shitty, but not the South shitty.
Yeah, not
The
that
different
shit.
and where were you guys in summer school that you met? This is now in
Amityville.
Amityville. Man. So when did you go out there? When did you move out there?
What grade? I was fourth grade.
Oh,
Actually, third grade. But I didn't start school until fourth grade. I was, after my landlord tried to burn the building down in the Bronx.
yeah.
I lived in Manhattan for a year when my parents got the house.
Oh, nice.
And then you got to move all the way there.
Yeah.
So generally with the stories that we hear on this podcast, like 90% have like this glorious hip hop story of the park down the street and plugging into the lamppost. And what was, obviously Long Island's a different world than New York City. So what was your guys' early introduction that made you actually start falling in love with music, being out in Long Island?
I mean, it was something that everybody was doing. I guess the influences came from the inner city. Folks who probably was in the same situation, you know, bringing their kids to Long Island to, you know, have a better life or what have you. And those kids bringing that influence and that music and just that, I guess you'd call it if you want to call it a hobby, a thing to do, to Long Island, and then begin to spread and grow, and just it being attractive to kids out there, it just grew there as well. And we weren't doing shows in the park or around or anything like that. We was just doing it in the basement, you know, pretty much. We had basements at the crib, so it was basement parties and, you know.
Red light parties.
Yeah, all that stuff, so we would be basically at home, just working on music at home, writing things at home, playing records, and, you know, doing pause tapes and stuff like that, and just.
So, what was your influence though, musically? Because the interesting thing is you guys came out, when you look back in history, you guys seem very advanced, musically, lyrically, everything, compared to a lot of the stuff that was like pre-85. Because you're basically, I mean, you're nearly contemporaries with the people who we consider pioneers, right? Like the Rakims and Canes, etc. You're only a couple years after that, you know what I mean? So who was influencing you guys musically as you guys started to kind of figure it out? And then also, how did you guys, what was the early dabblings in music? Who was rapping, who was messing around with beats, etc.?
I think early on, the influences were definitely what was to the left, you know? I mean, we loved everybody from, early on, from Cold Crush to Fantastic and all those groups, but I think when you started hearing, or started paying attention to style and sound and all that, the people to the left more or less caught our attention, the Ultramagnetics, you know, KRS-One, you know, people who were really lyrical, people who approached it a different way.
So wait, so you were saying you were drawing the connection between Biz and Rakim? So like, Rakim's also do a part? Do you guys get to go do a house party and see Rakim perform?
I mean, when we were going to different house parties, we would see, you know, early JVC Force before they really got on. And, you know, of course, even like the coalition with Paul, like Prince Paul, of course, being in Stet, he got to Stet. Even before Stet, Prince Paul was a very well-known DJ and very loved DJ.
Where's Prince Paul from?
Stanley.
No, I know that part. Where's he actually from? He's from Amityville too. Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, you know, that when Paul got on and just as Stet came out, you know, it just made you feel good. Like, wow, like someone from the neighborhood got on and just puts that fire in your, you know, in your belly.
Kind of cool that around that you see people at block parties, or Wine Dance Day, you see Rakim get on the mic, or Amityville Day, you see folks get on the mic.
Oh, you see Groovy Chill, there was another one.
Yeah,
Another one.
a lot too.
Okay, what are you guys doing at this point? Like musically, what are you trying to do, each of you?
These guys were in a different group at one point. And Boss was a DJ and he was a beatbox. But they wrote for the cats.
Easy Street was the name of the group?
Easy Street, yeah.
That's tight. Is that why you were just saying back in the room, you're like, man, I wish we just stayed at Easy Street, and never included that.
Yeah.
But they always wrote for the dudes in the group.
Oh, you guys weren't the main MCs?
No.
I was a DJ, Dave Beatbox.
Yeah.
But
Lift your mic a little.
like Dave Beatbox, I was the DJ. You know, like routines was the big thing back then. So I mean, like how we could probably go through a lot of famous rap records where it was a routine and probably one person wrote it. So the MCs in the crew, they wrote, but we also helped write a lot of stuff too and come up with different routines. So I mean, we just from there we just.
From there, we didn't make it to the Apollo, so we
Didn't have, Easy Street wasn't it?
Nah, we was striving to get to the Apollo, but that never happened. And,
Oh, but that was like a big goal.
yeah, that was a goal.
Yeah.
That was a goal.
I'm sorry that didn't work out.
Yeah, it didn't work out. But you know, we broke from that, and myself and Pops was just basically always writing. We always kept notebooks where we write ideas, you know, a theme to a song, concept, rhyme styles, records that would match that. I mean, we had like just a notebook full of ideas, which eventually became what we presented to Tommy Boy, along with a couple of songs, and them looking through and seeing our ideas, like, you know, these guys really got something going on here. But before that,
Demo to Tommy Boy was a notebook.
it was a notebook and a cassette tape, yeah.
So, ladies and gentlemen, if you're looking to get into the rap business, an impressive label.
Right.
Show up with a notebook, a little cassette.
But Mace was one of another popular DJ in the neighborhood, and we actually connected with a friend, Charlie Rock, who was a part of Daylight as well before it was called Daylight, and he brought Mason Chuck he basically didn't fit the whole vibe, and wanted to do his own thing as well, so we was left with Mace. Yeah, we was left with Mace Dio, so it kind of worked out, and from that point we just started like making songs and again, going through those concepts and creating ideas and stuff, you know, as a threesome.
So now we're getting to it coming together. What are some of those early original ideas that ended up on the demo? And also, how did you end up getting to go to labels and, like, you know, how did it all come together?
It was, we had this routine, plug tuning was a routine. It was just basically a routine, a rhyme with you in the backyard party when found the 45, one of my father's 45, which was the invitations written on the wall. I paused it, played it for Dave, and I was like, yo, this could be the plug tuning routine. He could make a song to this. And he was like, yo, that's cool. Mace, he was working with, what's his name? The MC at the time?
Gangsta Beat.
Gangsta Beat. Gangsta Beat?
Yeah.
Gangsta Beat.
Yeah, Mace was in another group as well. He was Moonlight.
Like him and Paul was working with this gentleman, Gangsta Beat, on this label from Everett Collins. He lived on my block and he was the music teacher. He also
Produced for Isley Brothers and Surface.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah.
What was his name?
Everett Collins.
Oh, yeah. He was a percussionist and keyboard player for the Isley Brothers, and he also produced. He co-produced that and Closer Than Close.
No disrespect, guys. What was what you just whistled for everyone who might not?
Happy?
Surface?
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, that's
Surface.
It's called black music, you don't know about that.
Was Drake on it?
Nowadays, it probably would be a Drake record.
Okay, so your work doing that. Don't let us get off track.
Sorry.
And then let's keep going. How do we pull this all together?
Well, here it is. This is around the time I moved to Long Island in '84. Between '84 and '85, I started meeting everybody, just meeting new friends. I loved playing sports, doing music. I met a lot of DJ cats, obviously. Friday and Saturday was big party nights for Long Island, especially with the football team. So I met a lot of DJs. That's where I met Chuck. And meeting Chuck is when I met Dave and Merce. And then it started to click from there. The following year, starting school fresh, we were in English class together. I think things started really to click for us late '86, early '87. Paul was just taking off with that album. Every time he came to the neighborhood, he'd come home, he would DJ, cats would be trying to record him. I think our relationship developed because I wasn't sweating Paul. I loved his work, you know. I loved him as a person, but everybody would be, oh, Prince Paul's going crazy, you know. And we just genuinely connected. And then for some time, told him about the demos we were working on. And really before plug tuning, it was like Three's a Magic Number. It was Ghetto Thing.
Ghetto Thing, yeah.
It was
Daylight became Daisy.
Daisy Age. Potholes in My Lawn. Was early on. This was stuff that was brewing between '85 and '86.
Wow.
Before Prince Paul.
With just us.
With just us, yeah.
This is
Good job.
stuff. We were like 4-tracking it. Not even 4-tracking at this point. We were duping cassettes.
Yeah.
And all doing it together, like everyone kind of involved in the production and everything.
Either I programmed the drums and Merce had the samples, or Dave played the keys on it, or something like that. You know, everybody played a role, whether it was just recording it or
Just being present.
present.
So then how do you get the opportunity to go start actually shopping this label?
Well, as Mason
Paul.
said, once he let Paul hear what we were working on, Paul loved it. I mean,
And he's already in a town before.
yeah. And I mean, I guess Paul obviously felt a connection to how we were putting together music.
I mean, try to make a long story short. You know, he was in a group where he couldn't really express the ideas he had. He had some stuff that did land before what the style step was. He couldn't really bring that diverse, quirky flavor we know him for. you know. So this day was just divine for both of us. He playing the stuff that, he playing the Full Gear album, then he goes to play stuff that didn't make the album. And I was like, wow, you really need to hear this stuff. He was like, Mace, you've been saying this forever, let's go get it. I cut school for Prince Paul to go get these cassettes.
You was cut school.
His dad said he had a problem.
Yeah.
I mean, I know everyone has mixed feelings on Tommy Boy, obviously, as the years have gone on.
Yeah.
But I will say there's something about De La and Tommy Boy that, at least, I don't know, like, it's just a DJ label nerd standpoint that there is something nice about it,
Well,
even though there's a downside.
And underneath all of that, Tommy Boy was the place that we were supposed to be at. Trials, tribulations, whatever people think of them. They allowed us to be ourselves 100%. Whoever came in and tried to direct us, and of course, as a label, they suggested things, singles, and that, but never told us you can't do this, you can't say that. So
Right.
for us, it was perfect. I think we were meant to be there, and we wouldn't be sitting here if we weren't on something.
So,
You could have been on Black Watch. The Mumble one, we could have been that.
The what?
We
We
wanted-
could have actually been with Black Watch at
Yeah.
one point.
What's
The Bubba Carson.
and what's the name of it? What's the name of the group, though?
Oh, excellent.
Excellent.
oh, well, yeah, that they didn't have a lot. There wasn't a lot over there.
That was a good record, but it wasn't.
But the X-Men was great. Yeah, they didn't have other stuff particularly besides. Although, let's be honest, I mean, marketing X-Men was also probably an interesting challenge.
Yeah.
In retrospect. Shout out to X-Men, what a great group. But anyways, so you guys, how fast did things start moving? Then when you get the green light, you have some songs ready, how did things go?
I
Very
mean,
good.
plug tuning, we thought that was the beginning and the end, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, we was just looking to hear it on the radio, and
And that was kind of that. They were off to college, I was getting ready to go to the military. Then the opportunity came back to do Potholes at my lawn. And then after that,
So at first it was looking just like a single? That was the only thing that was
yeah,
happening?
it was single deals then. It was like a test run.
yeah, pretty much. I mean, I think it was definitely a test run in everybody's mind, but at the same time, we did sign for a contract to do an album.
After the second single,
Okay, so it's just not a guarantee you're gonna get to that place.
Yeah.
So who played it first? Who played on the radio first?
P5.
yeah, P5 played it first.
Yeah, P5 played it.
What station?
I forgot the college.
Was it P5?
God, I respect you guys remembering the first play.
Yeah,
Because I thought, of course, I'm thinking you're gonna say Red Alert or Marley.
No, I forgot, it was,
I forget what.
I'd be
station.
alive.
it was,
I forgot what station it was.
I truly forgot.
Yeah, but P5 was the
a
first
college radio station.
college radio station. Yeah.
And then the second was, Dr. Dre, I love Dr. Dre.
Yeah,
That would be
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Operating.
Then it was like Jeff
Voss.
after that. It got the red a little late. It got the red like a little later.
Did it get, by the time it got to Red, did it feel like a frenzy? Could you feel that there was true momentum?
I mean,
Yeah.
it's just like we're saying, to have Red, DJ, cut it up, to have hear Mr. Mack say world premiere, the music play,
Yeah.
that was a big thing for us.
Yeah.
What went after that?
To hear like someone from the label was like, yo, they're playing in Texas. Wait a minute, yo, they're playing it in LA. Y'all gotta go to this roller skate rink and perform at whatever the name of the place was. That was our first performance out there. Like, so it really took off. I mean, mind you, here it is when the album was coming together. Our first performance we do at a Stetson Sonic release party, and Russell comes up to us like, yo, I'm on your dick. I want to sign it.
Direct quote?
That record.
I figured you wouldn't have said that unless it was a direct quote.
You don't even want to see the hand when you see it.
So shout out to Russell. Yeah, no, we know Russell.
Russell back in the day was pretty extra.
Oh, Russell's pretty extra.
He's all turned out now, you know what I mean? But
Oh no, all you gotta do is put a microphone. He's
So
still.
like, we're like, young kids, like, yo, this is Russell Simmons, and DMC's at the front of the stage. It's like,
Wow.
do it again. You perform again. So it's great.
What were you performing?
Just plug to it.
That's it.
Shit, that's
So
good.
we were signed to Rush immediately. Like, we was on Rush, man.
Oh, man, yeah.
All right, so now you're signed to Rush Management. The label's probably geek because Plug Tune is actually doing his thing. And then they're like, all right, what do you have next?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
What's next? And we were straight to the studio. recording an album. But we had so many notes and so many ideas that it was actually easy rolling into doing an album. It almost was like stop. I guess that's why we ended up with like 27, 28 songs. But the ideas were there, the records were there, and we were just recording them at that point.
In the Long Island, or were you?
No, we were at
Calliope Studios.
What was it again?
Calliope Studios.
That's where Stet recorded, Biz recorded.
Everybody.
You know,
Is anybody, like, now that you starting to get a little success, you're recording an album, is anybody popping up? Where's Q-Tip popping up, or any of these people?
Yeah, they didn't come around until, in recording that album, we had a show in Boston somewhere, I think, us and Jungle. And that's how we kind of connected with them finally.
Right.
You know.
So that's how the Jungle Brothers thing started, was just at a show?
Yeah, we did Boston, a gig in Boston, a day gig in Boston, doing a show. Saw Jungle, actually saw Jungle a week before.
Latin Quarters.
Latin Quarters, and it was like, yeah, we got this gig coming out. That's when Jabrowski was huge. And we
Straight Out the Jungle just dropped. The
Yeah.
album just dropped.
We did the gig in Boston, and we was like, yo, we got this song that like kind of like it's almost like a parallel to Jimmy. We got this song called Jimmy. And they were like, oh, that's dope. Let's hook up over the weekend. We got a show in Queens. And then we hung out with them in the show in Queens, and then from that point invited them to a studio session that we had, possibly maybe a couple of weeks later. They came and hung out at the studio. We met Q-Tip at that show in the park.
Q-Tip and out.
Q-Tip and everybody, and then we came to the session that we had a couple of weeks later, and we recorded Buddy.
It wasn't even planned for them to be on.
Yeah.
They would have came a day earlier, a day later.
Oh, Buddy wasn't gonna be a posse kid.
No, just they came to the studio.
Back then, you was playing that. So
Yeah.
that's what we was working.
We was working on that, and it was like,
Listen,
rhyme on this. Yeah. So, I want to say it was a lot. There was a lot of people involved in that record. I think.
Yeah, I was about to say, how did everyone else, there's other people, like, how did Moni Love, like, how did everyone get involved in it?
And I don't recall if Moni was there for the original version.
No, she did a remix.
For the remix.
Her and Latifah.
Yeah.
Okay, she
what's
added it.
considered the standard or original version of Buddy is obviously.
Is the right, now it is the remix.
You know, and what was cool, what I loved about back then was, you know, people would sit you down.
Yeah.
Even if it was a minute, you know, Chuck would be like, yo, make sure you know, Russell or DMC would be like, I remember Russell saying, yo, don't be afraid of going out there. If you ever feel anything, you know what running them do? They look over their heads. They don't look in their eyes, just look over their heads. So it was kind of nice back then, even coming up, that we were being schooled, you know, we were being taught along the way by these people who we, you know, looked up to, you know. That's something that I think was really good for who we are today, just being able to give as well, you know, as much as we can.
And what an interesting way to start performing, because like I said, I don't know if you guys heard it, it was during the first time I introduced you guys, but then you weren't there. But the first time I said, the greatest, I think still you guys are the greatest performing group in hip hop.
Suck.
I was gonna ask, what? So where do you start when you jump? Because we in our world, you know what I'm saying? Like I remember like a year ago, whatever, Fool's Gold. McConan had that Tuesday record. It had been out for like a month. And A3c, you know, he always pulls out great shit at Fool's Gold, so they had him show up. And this kid walked on stage, and when I tell you it looked like he hadn't even performed in front of his fucking mirror yet. And that's not a diss, he was brand fucking new, right? And I was like, so anytime an artist gets thrown in front of a huge crowd and doesn't know yet, I mean, you guys, that must have been fucking tough early on.
It was.
I mean, especially to have an album so visual, we were still trying to figure out how to physically show that to the crowd.
Yeah.
So that, it was tough at first.
And those arenas are huge too, commanding that stage is tough.
It is, and in addition to that, we were fortunate enough and have the guidance of a Russell Simmons and a Leora Cohen to just also move us outside of that traditional hip hop setting and get us on tour with Finding Cannibals or who else? I'm not too sure.
You went on tour with them?
Private,
Yeah,
Sinead
Right after
O'Connor.
Nitro Tour.
Finding Cannibals. So even getting in front front of
Well, my dad could have seen you on tour. That would have been
even getting in front of those audiences and them definitely not knowing who the hell we were, that was even a bigger challenge. I mean,
Arenas also?
yeah, arenas and festivals.
And amphitheaters.
Yeah.
Yeah, to win them over on stage.
Yeah,
right there, like
and that was
those
tough.
songs.
That was tough. That was another Russell moment because I personally couldn't do it. I just for me the fright of being up there and trying to prove to these people who probably didn't even know what hip hop was a little too much, and I think we actually canceled that tour.
Well, you wanted to leave. You wanted to get off the tour and then Russell got
Russell did another thing. Come on, man. Come on, B. I'm telling you. Suck y'all dick, man. Come on.